Hello, welcome to Sarah's Stitchery. I'm Sarah and this is my Flosstube channel where I talk about cross stitch and all things stitchy related, so welcome. Today's date is January 15th. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day and this is Flosstube episode number 3. So welcome to my channel. Thank you so much if you are a returning viewer and subscriber. I truly appreciate your support and encouragement. And if you're new here, I really hope you enjoy what you see, and I hope you'll consider subscribing below and liking the video and hitting the little bell to get the notifications when I have new videos up. So let's go ahead and get started. You'll notice I'm here with Daisy today. If you are new here, this is my dog Daisy. She is a Chiweenie, and she likes to make appearances on my videos, and apparently people like when she's on the videos. So Daisy and I are matching today. We've got our red and black on. Daisy actually got this sweater from a friend of mine named Michelle, who was at the retreat that I was at this weekend, but unfortunately she had to leave the day before I arrived, but she had left a couple of items of clothing to pass on to Daisy from her dogs Abby and Barkley, who do not like wearing clothes. So Daisy has benefited from their dislike of clothing. So Daisy is wearing one of the sweaters that she was gifted by Michelle and Abby and Barkley. So thank you guys, appreciate that. I'm wearing a new sweatshirt, which I'll show you more of when Daisy gets down. But I'm starting to get into the Valentine's spirit with my stitching a little bit, but also just the Valentine's spirit. I love hearts, I love red, I love pink, that kind of thing. So anyway, so Daisy's here. She'll be here at the beginning of the video, but then I'll have to put her down so I can show you some things. So let's talk, I always start the video with a small personal update. I keep it short. Not a whole lot going here. I had a wonderful holiday break. If you're new here, I'm a teacher. I'm a 4th grade teacher. So of course I was off for winter break to celebrate the holidays with my family. I went back to school. My husband and I are both teachers, so we both went back to school on January 3rd. So just getting back into the swing of things at school and getting back into our regular routine. My daughter, Maggie, I have 3 children. My middle child, my second daughter, Maggie, she lives in New York in Brooklyn and goes to school there. So I actually just took her to the airport yesterday so she could go back to New York. She's got 1 semester left and then I will have a college graduate. So yeah, that was kind of a bummer to take her to the airport and send her back. It was really nice having her home. So I took her back yesterday, and I actually just did a retreat over the weekend. I went to Stitch Away, which is hosted by Keepsakes at a local state park at a lodge there. So I will be talking a little bit about the retreat that I just went to. So before we get into the stitchy stuff, I did want to announce my giveaway winner. So I hosted a giveaway in Flosstube episode number 2. By a designer called Pixel Pixie X Stitch on Instagram and Etsy. Her name is Christy. She's a very talented designer, and she asked me to host a giveaway for her, which I was very thrilled to do. So Christy said that the winner could choose a chart of their choosing from her shop, and she would be glad to send that to them. So I did a random comment generator. You had to just use the word Pixie in your comment, and the winner for the giveaway was Brenda Johnson. So Brenda, if you're watching, you can either send me an email. My email and my Instagram are below, so you can send me an email or you can message me on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram as Stitchy Sarah Reads, Sarah with an H, and my Gmail is stitchysarahreads@gmail.com. So get a hold of me, Brenda. I will get you in touch with Christy, and you can let her know which of her charts you would like to stitch. So congratulations. Okay, let's talk first about some finishes. Let's look at some cross stitch. So Daisy, I'm going to put you down. I'm sorry. She got a new bed for the craft room, so I'm sure as soon as I put her down, she will go lay in her bed. But say goodbye. Say goodbye to the people. Goodbye, people. You're going to go down, okay? I'm sorry. She would rather do the whole video sitting here in my lap, but that just is not going to happen. So, all right, little one. Okay, you go take your little nap in your cozy sweater. Speaking of cozy sweaters, here's mine. I got it on Amazon. It's just a heart with a dog paw. And got my heart on my sleeve here. So very cute. I love it. If I remember, I'll link the sweatshirt down below in case you want one for yourself. Oh, before I show you finishes, I do have a late Christmas gift to show you. So this has nothing to do with stitching, but it has to do with daisies. So my coworkers and I, like I said, I'm a teacher. I teach on a 3-person team. So there's 2 other 4th grade teachers on my team, and we always give each other Christmas gifts every year. So our coworker, Paul, he had ordered something for my other coworker and I, but it wasn't in before we went on Christmas break. So when we got back to school, he was like, okay, I have your gift for you. And I have to say that I almost cried when he gave it to me because it is just so special. Let me just show you. It is a picture of my dog. Isn't that so sweet? So my other coworker and I, Becky, we are both dog moms and we are obsessed with our dogs. Paul is not a dog person. His wife is allergic, but he does enjoy hearing about our dogs, and he's always doing nice things for our dogs, like bringing treats and stuff for them. So he got these digital renderings of our dogs and got them framed, and I love this so much. It is so cute. So I was going to take it to school and put it on my desk, but I've been keeping it here in my craft room. And I just love it so much. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Sorry, not Stitchy related, but Daisy related. So it's relevant, right? Okay. All right, let's talk about some finishes. So since I've seen you, so this is my first actual Flosstube episode in 2024. My last Flosstube episode, it was at the end of December. I did do a end of year whip parade on December 31st, so the last day of the year. And then just previous to that, I had a regular Flosstube. So I haven't had any regular Flosstubes or any Flosstubes at all in 2024. So the first finish I'm going to show you was actually an end of the year finish in 2023. So I squeaked this one in just at the end of the year. Isn't it so cute? I know I showed it in my last video because it was so close to a finish. Let me get a little bit closer here. So this chart is Christmas Mini Moon by Plum Street Samplers. And I stitched this, on 46 count Saltbush by Fox and Rabbit, using all the called for floss. So I think it's mostly in overdyes. I can't remember if there were any DMCs or not, but I think it turned out perfect. I love it. I just need to FFO it. So, yep, that was my last finish of 2023. So I have 3 more finishes. These are all 2024 finishes. And if you watched either of my last 2 videos, I talked about my plans for 2024. This year, I am really focusing on bringing down my whip count. I started the year with 86 whips, and I really want to focus on getting some of those whips done. So I'm doing a 24 finishes in 2024 thing. So I'm using the hashtag 24 finishes in 24, the number 24 both times. And my goal is to finish 24 whips that I had prior to 2024. So nothing I'm starting in 2024 counts towards this, but anything that was a whip prior to 2024 counts. And so I am going to finish 24 things in 2024, which I don't think is going to be hard. I want to say like 38 finishes last year. So it's definitely doable. And so you know, the big thing for me is just getting some of those things off of my WIP list that have been hanging around. So yes, so I already have 3. So my calculations are that if I have 24 finishes to do in 2024, that means I need 2 finishes a month. So I'm already ahead of the game here. So this first one was actually a recent start. I started this in December of 2023. So this actually wasn't a WIP that was hanging around for a while, but I wanted to get it done because I want to get it fully finished. So I'll talk in a second about the fully finishing. But it's a finish for now, or a finish until it's a fully finish. But this is Snow Magical by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. I stitched it using all the called for floss, and I stitched this on, I want to say, Parchment by Weeks Dye Works, not Parchment. Yeah, I think Parchment. 40 count Parchment by Weeks Dye Works. Pretty sure that's what it was. And here's my finish. So you can see it's a snowman. It's got a round circular shape. And that's because the fully finish is going to be on this board here from Chantelle's 141 Design Company. This is a piece called Freeze Frame, and it comes with different pieces here. So it's kind of like a layered thing, and the layering at the bottom is actually what forms the base, so that this will be a freestanding piece. So you would layer these pieces on front and back, and also the bottom, front and back. And so that'll give you a nice solid base so that this can be a freestanding display piece. So obviously, as you can see, for now it is an unfinished piece. So my goal here this next week is to stop at the store and get the paints and the finishing supplies that I want to use for this, and so I can get this fully finished. So I do want this to be an FFO soon. While I have this piece out, I do want to mention something that my friend Allison is hosting on Instagram. So as I mentioned, this is a finishing piece from Chantelle's 141 Design Company, and Allison is doing this in conjunction with Chantelle. She is hosting an initiative called the Chantelle's 141 Finishing Frenzy. And the idea behind it is to encourage those of us who have finishing pieces from Chantelle's 141 Design Company to use those pieces to get some fully finishes done. I know a lot of you probably have a drawer or a box or a bin full of things that you've finished stitching, but you've not fully finished as a piece that you can display in your home. And if you're anything like me, you've got a drawer full of pieces such as this from Chantelle's 141 Design Company. And if you don't, you need one. Just waiting to be pulled out and used. So for instance, the last couple of years, I ordered the box from Chantelle's 141, the mystery make-along box that had wooden ornament finishing pieces. And so I have all of those. I think I've used one, which is a shame. And so the Finishing Frenzy, again, is just something that's hosted on Instagram, kind of like a stitch along, but more of like a finish along, where we're just encouraged to pull out our Chantelle's pieces, or if you don't have any, go buy some, and let's get these things fully finished. So I will post more about it down below in the description box, but I would fully encourage you to go follow Chantelle, obviously, Chantelle's 141, but also follow my friend Allison, and I will link her Instagram below. Her Instagram is Alley, ALLEY .cat.13, and she has already posted a graphic about the Finishing Frenzy, but she'll be posting more information throughout the next few weeks about the Finishing Frenzy. And it's not something you have to sign up for. There's no schedule for it. It's just, hey, let's finish our stuff. Let's post it on Instagram. Let's, I'm sure there's a hashtag. I'll put the hashtag below. Let's use the hashtag. And definitely, if you're posting things that you're finishing on Chantel's pieces, tag Chantelle. She wants to see that. Tag Allison. She wants to see that, and I'm sure she'll repost it in her stories to share it with other people. You know, sharing those things is awesome because we get to see how other people are using these pieces, how other people are finishing. Maybe somebody's finishing a design that you've stitched on one of Chantel's pieces, and it inspires you to get yours finished, right? Or it gives you an idea of how you can finish yours. So it's just all about encouraging each other to get these things finished and up in your home so you can enjoy them. I mean, you know, a lot of work goes into making these beautiful pieces. So we want to get them displayed. So the Chantel's 141 Finishing Frenzy. Go follow Chantelle. Go follow Allison. All of the details are below, and post your finishes. We want to see them. Okay. Sorry about that, but I hope I've inspired you to do some finishing. Okay, so that was my first finish of 2024. It's no magical. My second finish of 2024, I started this last January, so it was a year in the making. This is from Heart and Hand, and it is the 2023 Collector's Heart chart. In fact, I actually purchased this as a kit. So not only did I get the chart, I also received the fabric and the floss, and it came with a button, which is right down there. So there goes my button. Okay, so there's my piece. I'll give you a little bit more of a close-up. This is stitched on 32 count Heartland by Picture This Plus, 2 strands over 2 linen threads, and I stitched it with the floss that came with it, the called for, which is a Cottage Garden Threads floss in the color Leather Bound. And it is just stunning. I don't know if you can see it, but look at the variegation in this big heart here. Oh, so beautiful. This was such a fun stitch. I put 2024 down here since I didn't stitch it. I didn't finish in 2023. In fact, when I picked it back up, I literally had like part of this heart done, and that was pretty much it. So I basically stitched the whole thing this month, and I love it. So yeah, I think I have a finishing piece that I want to mount this on. So I need to have a fully finishing day coming up. But I need to, like I said, I need to go to the store and get some supplies, like some paints and some finishing touches, like maybe some ribbons, and who knows? I need to go to the store. That's the moral of that story. Okay, now my next finish kind of segues into the retreat I just went to. So before I show that to you, let me do a quick little recap of the retreat. So I always, this is my 3rd year attending the Stitch Away retreat that is hosted by Keepsakes, which is local to me here in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it's a retreat that's always hosted on the weekend of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it is just such a fun retreat. It's hosted at a lodge, at a beautiful A-frame lodge called Houston Woods, that's positioned on a lake in the woods. I mean, you can't get more perfect than that for a winter retreat, right? So this was my 3rd year attending. This year, Barbara, the owner of Keepsakes, she opened up the event for an entire week. So previously, I believe it was hosted from Thursday to Sunday, but Barbara opened it up. They made more of the lodge available for stitchers, and they had classes. I know there was like a punch needle class, there was a specialty stitches class. So a lot of fun things to do throughout the week. Unfortunately, I couldn't go for the whole week because I don't think my principal would be thrilled with me taking a whole week off of work after I've just been off for winter break. So I only got to attend on Friday and Saturday, which was fine. So I took a day off on Friday, and I spent the whole day up there on Friday and Saturday. and it was just so, it was something to look forward to, you know, like I just got done with the busyness of the holidays and having my brother-in-law staying with us and having my daughter home and all the crazy fun holiday stuff. And then it's just like, boom, holidays are over, back to work. So you kind of get in, it's kind of a little sad and a little depressing, like, oh, that was so fun, now we're done. So it's just like another thing for me to kind of like look forward to just extend that excitement, you know. So I was really looking forward to it. I look forward to it every year. So I had so much fun just getting a chance to hang out with friends that I don't see very often. Oh, this year in the lodge, like usually we have this one Stitchy room. It's just like a banquet or conference room that you would, you know, find at any like hotel or anything. It's a large room. You got the overhead fluorescent lights. You know, they've got lots of tables set up and there's, you know, cords running everywhere so that everybody can plug in their stuff. So that's nice. But this year, because they extended the time of the event, they also extended the amount of attendees that could come. So they needed some extra Stitchy areas for people to sit. And so outside of the conference room, there's this large open space that has like a wall of windows that face the lake. So it's just got a beautiful scene to look out on. There's this giant stone fireplace and they had the fire going and they still have everything decorated for Christmas. So different garden clubs will sponsor different areas of the lodge to come and decorate. And it was just stunning. So they had tables set up in that area too, which during the day was wonderful because you had all of that natural light coming in. And so my friend Allison and I sat in that room during the day. It was nice, you know, to visit with the people around us. At a table close by were the sassy Southern Stitchers, Megan and Lisa. So I got to meet them. My friend Holly was sitting over there stitching a model for Kathy Barrick. Wow. Kia B was sitting over there, so I got to chat with her for a little bit. A new friend named Karen was sitting over there. If you've seen Karen, they call her Pink. She got pink hair. She wears pink. She is just pink, and she's very friendly and sweet. Let's see who else was sitting over there. Oh, Missy from Two Needles Pulling Threads. I got to meet her. I mean, and I'm not going to sit here and name everybody because A, it would be a long video, and B, I'll probably forget somebody, which wouldn't be nice, and I don't want to do that. But just kind of an example of like, you know, getting to meet new friends and getting to chat with friends that you already know. Like I was already friends with Holly, but getting to be close to her and see that beautiful model she was stitching was really cool. So, you know, I got to see my friends Angie and Jean. I just got to see my friends Tona and Jessica, so many friends, Karen. It was so much fun, and just meeting new friends. But anyway, so one of the really cool things about Stitch Away is that there's always a guest designer and it's always a surprise. So going into the weekend, nobody knows who the guest designer is. Now that doesn't stop us from trying to guess, you know, because there'll be little clues here and there, like what are the table decorations looking like? You know, is there a theme? You know, if you go in the annex, which designer's work is featured pretty prominently? Like just all these different little clues. Nobody that I talked to guessed who it was. I didn't guess who it was. So it was very interesting when we had the big reveal for the guest designer on Friday. When that person was revealed, I was actually stitching one of her pieces right then and there. So, which brings me to my finish, because I finished this at the retreat. So let me show you my finish. Let's do that. Da, 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 da. So this is called Winter Cometh, and the designer of this chart is Beth Seal from Summer House Stitchworks. So imagine my surprise when, as I'm sitting there at my table stitching, and Barbara's like, and our guest designer this year is Summer House Stitchworks. And I was like, that's who I'm stitching. So that was kind of a cool coincidence. So I did finish this at the retreat. I started this, I think I started this in 2023. And I had brought this with me because I was like, I'm going to be stitching at a cabin, not a cabin, an A-frame lodge in the woods. Like, it's going to be cold. It's going to be snowing. This is a perfect choice to bring with me. And how perfect was it that that was our guest designer? So I did finish stitching this at the retreat. The details, let's see, I stitched this on 40 count platinum Newcastle linen, and I stitched it using a conversion that I believe was created by Susan at Keepsakes. A friend of mine had grabbed these flosses for me at Keepsakes a while back, and this was converted to Classic Colorworks Belle Soie. I believe it's charted with DMC, but it was converted to Classic Colorworks Belle Soie. Let's see if I can remember the colors, because I gifted my Belle Soies to a fellow stitcher to use. So the dark blue, so there's 3 colors here. The dark blue is Classic Colorworks Belle Soie Indigo. The green is Attic Tea. And then this light silvery blue is Babbling Brook. Those were the 3 colors. So it's just charted in 3 colors. Which gives it a really interesting coverlet look, which the designer said it was inspired by coverlets. I don't know much about coverlets, so I'm not going to talk about them, but she's from Pennsylvania, and I believe she said there is like a small coverlet museum there in Pennsylvania, and so that was what inspired her to do this series. So there's a whole seasonal series. There's obviously winter, spring, summer, and autumn. I do have the summer one as a whip. So it's called Summer Refreshes. I think the spring is Spring Awakens, and then autumn Provides. I think that's what they're called. So I have all the charts, but the only other one I have started is Summer Refreshes. So, but 1 down, 3 to go. So that was actually my 3rd finish for 2024. So, and those 3 finishes that I showed, the last 3 finishes I showed you, go towards my 24 finishes in 24. So I only have 21 more to go for that. Speaking of the retreat, since I just showed you that piece, and since I just told you who the designer was, let me go ahead and talk a little bit more about the retreat. So let me show you. No, I don't want to show that to you yet, because the designer always creates a piece for us to an exclusive for us, and we get like the kit and everything. So I actually started it. So I'll show that to you in my whips. But I will show you, when I was there, I did some shopping. Barbara always has an annex where you can purchase charts and floss and fabric and any kind of stitching notions you could want. So I did go with the intention of purchasing fabric. I did want to kind of replenish some of my neutral stash. And of course, you know, seeing fabric in person and being able to touch it and look at it is a lot different than ordering it online. So I was really excited to pick up some fabric. And I also picked up 2 charts. So I was trying to rein myself in and not get too crazy. And honestly, this is the least I've ever bought at a retreat before. So pretty proud of that. Let me show you. I'll just kind of show you real quick the fabrics I bought. So I grabbed this 40 count Atomic Ranch fabric in the color Eclipse. So you can see it's just a very dark charcoal color, which is great to have on hand, especially for things like hands-on design. She does a lot of stuff on this kind of color, but come on, that's a good one to have in your stash. This next one is a Fox and Rabbit, 46 count ballet slippers. which is a great one to have in your stash. And I have another Fox and Rabbit 46 count in the color Mayflower, which I already have a plan for this. And I have a Fiber on a Whim 46 count Silver Fox, which is another great one to have in your stash. I did purchase one more fabric, but I've already started stitching on it, so I'll show that to you in my whips. The two charts I purchased were, so this first one is by a designer called Running with Needles and Scissors, and the model, and I've said this in other videos and stuff, the model sold me on it. The chart, like, it's nice, but the colors in the picture of the chart are just not as vibrant as seeing it on the model in person. So the model is what really sold me. This chart is gorgeous. I don't have plans to start it anytime soon, but I knew it was one that I wanted to have, to own, so that when I am in the mood to start something gorgeous, I have something. So this is called Beloved by Running with Needles and Scissors. And the colors are just kind of coming across way darker on the chart than they do in person. But what I really fell in love with was this scene with the birds. So I don't know if I'll stitch the whole thing or if maybe I'll just stitch the birds. So that's another thing to think about before I consider starting it. So I purchased that, and I also purchased this chart. If you have watched me before, you know my favorite designer is the Blue Flower. And there was a trunk show for the Blue Flower there. And I have a lot of Blue Flower charts. I have a lot of Blue Flower whips. I don't own this chart. And again, seeing the model is what sold me on this one because the colors are stunning. So this is an older chart from 2018 called The Color of Winter. And I'll get a little bit closer. I just thought that was so pretty. I love the flowers coming up out of the pots on the sides there. They're so vibrant. And the saying says, the color of springtime is in the flowers. The color of winter is in the imagination. So for this one, I would like to start it sooner rather than later. I don't think I'll start it this month. I'm really trying to limit my number of starts, but I'm thinking maybe a February start. So I was thinking that I will use this Mayflower fabric. Pretty good match, huh? I'm going to use the Mayflower fabric. I did pull out the colors from my stash that I already own, and I have placed a 1, 2, 3 stitch order for the rest of the colors that I don't have in my stash. It does call for, let's see, it calls for all weeks, general art, and classic color works. And because of the fact that I'm having fewer starts this year, I don't mind splurging a little bit more on purchasing the hand-dyed floss, or the over-dyed floss, I should say, because I'm not going to be kitting up that many things this year. So I figured that was a splurge, especially because the colors and that really sold me on that pattern. So of course I want to stitch it using all of the called for colors. So while I'm on the subject of Stitch Away, I'll just show you really quick a couple of the cute gifts that I got from some of the attendees. The designer of Red Barn Samplers was there at the retreat, and she gave us this little card. On the back is a little freebie chart, which is super cute, and she gave us these little keychains that are rulers, which would come in handy for gauging where to start your pattern if you are a corner starter. From my dear friend Angie, who lives in Pennsylvania, she gave me this adorable little mug that has this wool felt ball in and these beautiful decorative pins. Thank you, girl. A new friend, Sandy, that I just met, who is actually local, I believe. She does like paper crafting and stamping and stuff, so she stamped this on these adorable little bags, drawstring bags, and inside was a beautiful decorative pin that I believe she made. So thank you, Sandy. My friend Holly gave me this adorable jar Inside is some floss, some of her floss cards, or one of her floss cards, and looks like some candy is in there. There's a little little tin in there for your needles with her little logo on it. So that's from my friend Holly. And this one kind of blew me away. So these ladies were new attendees at Stitch Away. They'd never been to Stitch Away before. It was their first time. And they decided, let's make a gift for all 200 attendees of the retreat. They made these. They made these adorable little zipper pouches. It's got the little ring on the end here that you can attach something to. So they attach their card to it. It's got a zipper. It's quilted. There you go. Maybe you can see that. It's quilted. And inside they gave us some little candies. And the inside fabric's very pretty. So yeah, they just whipped up 200 of these, you know, to give to everybody. And their names are Karen and Beth. And they were just so sweet. I got to meet both of them. They're both very friendly, very nice. And I was thrilled to meet both of them and get a chance to talk to them. So thank you, ladies. That was so nice of you. So I can't say enough good things. I left that retreat with a heart full, you know, just being refreshed, being around my people, being around people who have the same passion as me, you know, making new friends, being inspired by other Stitchers. It was just a fantastic time. You know, so I can't say enough good things. Barbara and her team at Keepsakes put on a heck of a retreat. So I have a good time every time I go. All right, let's move along. Let's do WIPs. WIPs stands for Works in Progress. I don't have that many because I've been finishing stuff. So I've been getting back to things and just finishing them. So I have 3 to show you today. All right. This first one I haven't done a whole lot more on since I saw you last. But I did a little bit more. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. So this is The Light of Winter by Brenda Gervais. Let me pull out my chart. Sorry. Let me set these finishes over here. This one lives in my beautiful Teresa Kogut fabric bag from Painted Leaf Co., which, if you're new here, is my mom. She is the maker of the Painted Leaf Co. bags. Follow her on Etsy and Instagram. I'll link her below. And so here's the actual chart. The Light of Winter by Brenda Gervais. That's what it looks like. And again, here is my progress. I'm stitching this on 40 count Bria by Fox and Rabbit. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Bria, I don't know. But that's my progress. So since I've seen you last, I filled in this dark red of the door, and I've been filling in the windows. I did the curtains in all the windows, and then I'm just filling in this like tan color inside the windows. So I want to finish up the windows, and then I'd like to get back to doing that brickwork. So I worked on that a little tiny bit at Stitch Away, and then I worked on it a little bit yesterday morning. So not a whole lot more progress on that one, but I'll keep plugging away at it. I know there is a Stitch Along that is being hosted by Chrissy from Finally a Farm Girl and Stitchy Linda. They are using hashtag Light of Winter Sal, which again, I'll try to remember to link below or to post below. Okie dokie. My next WIP is one that I've been working on for a while, and it is one that I will finish this year. So let me show it to you first. Let me show you the chart first. Let's do that. Another Painted Leaf Co. bag. This is one of her vinyl bags. Using, I believe this was Blackbird fabric. So pretty. So this chart is called Let Love Rain. It's by Teresa Kogut. It comes in this booklet. So there's like 3 charts in this booklet. So it's the main sampler that I'm stitching, plus it's got 2 more within the booklet. But like I said, I'm stitching Let Love Rain, which is a large sampler. Here's what it looks like in its entirety. it's a big one. I've been working on this for quite a while. I did not do much on it in 23. I believe I started it in 2022 with my friend Kirby. We were doing great. We were staying on our schedule. And then I had an issue where I have messed up somewhere in my border up here. I'm off by half a stitch because I'm stitching over 2. So I'm off by 1 thread somewhere. I have gone back and frogged, restitched, frogged, restitched, frogged, restitched. And I'm like, okay, stop what you're doing. So I'm just working in other places. I figure I'll work my way back up there at some point and figure out what I did wrong. Let me give you some, let me see if I can give you some stats on this one. So the stitch count on this is 294 by 390. I'm stitching it on 46 count. However, if you stitch it on 40 count, it ends up being 14 3/4 inches by 19.5 inches. So mine will be slightly smaller than that, but that's big. It's a big chart. And I'm stitching it using all DMC. I think I changed the green and the blue, but everything else is as called for. So let me see if I can fit all of this into the screen for you to see. It's a big one, even though I'm stitching it on 46 count. So that's what the entirety of it looks like so far. And I'm stitching this on 46 count Fox and Rabbit in the color Prehistoric. And so I've actually gotten a good bit of work done on this lately. So I pulled this out on December 31st for the New Year's Eve 12 by 12. So New Year's Eve 12 by 12 is hosted by Kia Bee Quilting and Pam Schaffner from Just Keep Stitching. And the original idea was to start 12 new projects in the 12 hours leading up to the new year. A lot of people have tweaked it to make it their own. So I tweaked it this year. Instead of starting 12 new things, which I did last year, but instead of starting 12 new things, I decided I was going to work 12 hours on this single project, which I did, and I made a lot of progress. Since New Year's Eve, I have also worked on this 3 other days. My friend Allison and I have mentioned Allison before, Alley Cat. She also pulled out one of her big projects. She's working on a Mirabilia, and so she also put in 12 hours in her Mirabilia, and we were just like so happy with the amount of progress that we got in those 12 hours, and we're like, we need to make sure we're pulling these out regularly so we can continue to be making good progress on them. You know, like those hours matter. Like we were documenting, like, you know, by taking pictures of our progress each hour and being able to see exactly how much progress we were making in each of those hours really kind of motivated us, like, hey, we need to keep doing that. Now, obviously, we're not going to be doing 12 straight hours on those pieces all the time because that was a lot. We didn't actually do 12 straight hours. We split it up. I split mine up into 2 days. So like I did 6 hours on the 31st and then I did 6 hours on the 1st, which again is a lot of time stitching on something. So while we don't have those kind of chunks of time to keep devoting to these pieces, we did still want to keep some momentum going. So Allison and I have actually decided that every Monday we pull out these projects. So every Monday she's pulling out her Mirabilia. Every Monday I'm pulling out my Let Love Rain. So this has already seen 3 Mondays of work. Today's Monday, so I worked on it a little bit this morning and I plan on working on it some more tonight. But since working on it on New Year's Eve up until this point, let me kind of show you what kind of progress I made. So in that time, I finished this cat. I did this chicken. That chicken was not there. I did this whole tree, and the bird. I did this dog. I did this box. The box says established 2007. This is going to be a kind of like a marriage, like a marriage sampler for my husband and I. So that's when we were married, 2007. I worked some more on this little border thing here. I've worked some more on this border here. I put in this whole urn with all the flowers and this bird. I added some color to that heart, and I put in this urn here. So yeah, that was a lot of work that I got done. These are teeny tiny stitches. There's a lot of detail that goes into those. So I'm pretty happy with the progress that I've gotten in since the start of 2024 and the end of 2023. So I'm going to keep working on this because this is going to be something that I finish this year. I plan on finishing it and getting it professionally framed and hung up in my house. So again, that was Let Love Rain by Teresa Kogut. I love it. At Stitch Away, I met a new friend named Sheila, and she was stitching this, and she's stitching it on a 25 count fabric 1/1. It is so tiny. Like, I thought my stitches were tiny, stitching on a 46 count. Her stitches are tiny. And her sampler is like this big. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like half the size of mine. It's crazy, crazy. All right, now circling back around to our designer from Stitch Away. So I told you before, it was Beth Seal of Summer House Stitch Works. She was just like a breath of fresh air. It was so fun meeting her, hearing her story, hearing about her inspiration and her family and that kind of thing. So this year's theme, if you will, because Barbara from Keepsakes always tells the designer, like, you know, I want you to go with your gut. I want you to go with what's speaking to your heart. Like, where, like, you can take this design anywhere you want to take it. Like, she wants it to be a really organic, you know, thing from the designer where they're stitching something that just speaks to them. And so the theme for this year was My Blue Heaven. And so the design, the main design that she gave us was based on a song that was special to her grandma called My Blue Heaven. And she talked a lot about her grandparents because they were very, you know, important people in her life. She talked about her childhood. She talked about the things that inspire her. And so I was, you know, we see these designs, you know, you go online and you see these designs and you think, oh, that's pretty, that's nice. But, you know, unless you know the story behind it, it does, you know, you just, I don't know, for me, like, when I pick a design, like, I think about how it applies to me, but just like knowing where the designer was going with it and what her inspiration was, really was special for me, I guess I should say. So it was, I just so much enjoyed hearing her stories and how she came up with the design. So on Friday, so like I said, I was there on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, after the big reveal, we have like a question and answer with the designer. And then the designer kind of gives us like a little teaser or like a smaller project that's kind of related to the bigger project. So on Friday, we got this chart called Home Sweet Home. Let me go in a little bit closer. So you can see it's like this little like 20s, 30s inspired circle design that's charted in like reds and blues and greens. And we also received all of the finishing supplies. Sorry, Daisy's scratching at her pillow to get a more comfy spot, if you could hear that. So we get all the finishing supplies to finish it just this way. So like we got the circular mat board, we got the batting, we got the fabric for the bag, we got the rickrack, we got these little pins to put in. So we got everything we needed to stitch this beautiful little design, except for fabric, you know, because people stitch on different counts and different types. So, Daisy, shh. Sorry, if you can see her, she's got a chair. She's got her own, like, armchair in my craft room. And she's got a special pillow and her special blankets. And so she's doing this on her pillow, you know, to make it more fluffy so she can be comfortable. So I'm sorry if you're hearing that. But yeah, we got this on Friday. And then Saturday was like the big reveal of like the big design. And so let me just go ahead and show it to you. So like I said, the theme was My Blue Heaven and the chart is called My Blue Heaven. And that's what it looks like. And so the design of this, she was inspired by a couple of different things. Well, first of all, like I said, her grandparents and the fact that like this was her grandmother's favorite song was a big inspiration for her. But look at this border. Look at this intricate border, this blue, like Delft blue border all the way around. That border was inspired by a piece that she had picked up at an antique shop. It was this vintage like collar, you know, like something you would sew onto like a blouse, a vintage collar and cuff that had been hand embroidered with this design. You know, that was meant to be like stitched onto a blouse or something for a lady to wear. And so Beth had found that collar and it just had the one cuff. I don't know if the person didn't stitch the other one or what the case was, but she had this. She had purchased it a while back and she had, you know, always wanted to use that design for something, but she never really knew what. And then when Barbara was like, hey, I want you to design something, like I want you to, you know, use your imagination, you know, go with what speaks to you. She was like, I know what I'm going to use that design for. And so she incorporated that design into the border of this chart. And then, of course, and then the house in the middle and the flowers and the picket fence here are all reminiscent of the good memories that she has spending time with her grandparents. The cardinals are in here. I believe she said that was her grandmother's favorite bird. It's just gorgeous. You can't really see it, but there's specialty stitches in here. I believe the flowers, might be Algerian islets. I know there's some satin stitching in the roof. I mean, I'll try to get a little bit closer, but the details in that house, oh, so good. So I had to start this immediately at the retreat. I'm trying to have very few starts this year, but the fact that I just was so inspired by the designer, the fact that it was, you know, that it's attached to a retreat that I just had such a good time at. I didn't feel guilty starting this. I feel like a retreat start is okay. I feel like something that's meaningful is okay to start. I'm not just starting things willy-nilly. I'm, you know, carefully, you know, thinking about what I want to start and what kind of meaning it has. And so I felt like this was something I really needed to start. So we received the chart and we received all of the called for colors, all the floss. I believe it is charted completely in Weeks Dye Works. These amazing, amazing colors. There's like 5 colors of blue in here. Oh, they're so stunning. And then of course you got some like rust colors. Got this like gold, there's green, so beautiful. So I'm stitching mine on a fabric. This was the 5th fabric that I purchased at Stitch Away. It calls for, I think, 40 count cream and sugar by Fiber on a Whim. I'm stitching mine on 40 count Weathered Stone by Atomic Ranch, which is very, very similar to cream and sugar. And there's my start. I'm always an upper left corner starter. So that's my start right there, starting on that border. And then I started, the chart here. I started working on this inner border. I don't know if you can tell, but I had to frog. So there's 2 different colors of blue in this inner border. I had started with the darker blue, and then I had come in to fill in with that lighter blue, but then I realized that all of the stitching that I had done with the darker blue around here was off by a row. So I had to frog it all. So I was a little frustrated by that. I was working on that last night, and I had to do a lot of frogging, but you know, it's okay. It's all right. I'll go back and fix it because I want it to be perfect. So I'm enjoying that start. I think that's just going to be such a beautiful, beautiful pattern, beautiful finish. So yeah, I'm also keeping that in another Painted Leaf Co. bag. I think this was Teresa Kogut fabric too. It was one of her earlier vinyl bags as well. So all painted leaf co bags today. Okay, fantastic. So those were my whips. Like I said, I didn't have very many whips, but I had 4 finishes. So okay, let's talk a little bit about plans and about how I've been keeping myself organized. So as I mentioned several times already, I am trying to have very few starts this year, and I'm trying to get stuff finished. So here's some interesting stats. Last year in January, I had 11 new starts. So I started 11 new things in January. Not to mention that on New Year's Eve, so like New Year's Eve 2022 going into the 2023 New Year, I also did the New Year's Eve 12 by 12 where I started 12 new things. So basically on New Year's Eve last year, I started 12 new things, and then I started 11 more new things in January of last year. So like I started a lot in a short amount of time last year. And so in the month of January last year, I had 1 finish. Started a lot, finished 1 thing. This year so far, I've had 1 new start. So that chart that I just showed you, My Blue Heaven, was the 1 thing I've started. And so far I've had 3 finishes in 2024. So already I'm doing so much better. I do have 1 more start planned for 2024. So in the past, and there's nothing wrong with this if this is what you do. I mean, it's totally fine. Everybody is their own person. In the past, I have just been the type of person, I will just start things willy-nilly. I like it. I'm kitting it up. I'm starting it right now, right? Which is why I came into the new year with 86 whips. So just for me personally, you know, again, I'm not saying that anybody else has to do things the way I do, or that the way I do things is the right way. Not saying that. You have to do what works for you. So, you know, like I said, in the new year here, the focus is being more intentional about the things I'm starting and the things I'm finishing. In fact, I actually just finished watching the Museum Stitcher's new video, and she mentioned that word. She said, you know, I've been hearing the word intentionality a lot on Flosstube, and that's exactly where I'm going this year. I'm being very intentional about the things I'm starting and being very intentional about finishing things. So in order to do that, I'm trying to keep myself a little more organized this year. And for me, my organization process and the way I document things is always changing, always evolving. So, you know, what worked for me last year might not work for me this year, and vice versa. So one thing that did work for me last year was using my book of days. So in 2023, I used my book of days religiously. So of course I had to get the 2024 book of days. I used the book of days just to document what I stitch on every day. And so here's my January so far. Every day I just write down the name of the projects that I stitched on that day. And out to the side here, I write down any new starts and any finishes that I have. I hope you didn't see that I already wrote down what I'm going to start later this month, and I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. So I will tell you that the thing I'm starting later this month is something that I'm going to be stitching with my friend Sarah. She has a floss tube called Handmade by Sarah W. If you haven't watched her, you should, because her stitching is amazing. She is a color completer, so meaning like when she stitches something, she will start with one color, she will stitch everything in that one color, and then she'll move on to the next color. So I'm just like fascinated by the way she stitches, because that is not how I stitch. I wish I could stitch that way, but it just doesn't work for me. So it's a chart that she and her friend Diane, I believe, are planning to start. And so I just kind of tagged along because she showed me like, hey, I'm going to be stitching this. I was like, so am I. So I'm not going to ruin that because she can talk about it on her floss tube. I don't know that she has yet. So I don't want to spoil anything. But it's something she's going to be starting at the end of this month. and I'm going to start it along with her. I'm tagging along, and she did a full Roxy Floss Co. conversion, which of course I copied. So I'm going to be starting that with her and her friend Diane at the end of the month. So if you want to know what it is, you're going to have to stay tuned to Sarah's Flosstube and just wait for her to talk about it. So anyway, so I've been keeping up with my book of days, but I also mentioned in a recent video that I'm keeping like a Stitchy journal. And I just have decorated my Stitchy journal with just stickers that I like. And I saved a lot of space. That way I can put more stickers on as the year goes on. So like, I had already put some on like before the year started, but I just added this one that I got at Stitch Away, called Stitching with Friends in the Woods 2024. I don't remember who gave me this sticker because a different person was handing them out. So my friend Jessica was handing them out for the person who made them. So I don't remember who made them. So if that was you, please tell me, because I would like to know who gave me this sticker, so that I can remember that. Or Jessica, if you're watching, if you'll tell me who gave me that sticker, I would love to know. So anyway, I'm using this like lined journal that I got on Amazon. If I remember, I'll put the link below. And I'm just kind of using it journal style. I have these little tabs that I'm using. So this one says Jan for January. And inside, I'm just using it as a way to document things. Like I wrote down what I did for my New Year's Eve 12 by 12. And I've written down my finishes. I am going to go in and write about Stitch Away. So just kind of like a record for me to go back and look at anything Stitchy related that I want to remember for the year. And so I haven't put the other months in yet because I don't know how many pages I'll take up for January. So once I'm done with January, I'll start a new section and I'll put February. So as the months go by, you'll see more tabs being added. I did just add a new tab in the back that says lists. And this is a place where I'm going to have lists of things. So for instance, I have a page for my 2024 new starts. I have a page for my 2024 finishes, and I'm just like listing them like in number order. I'm not including any other details because the other details will be inside of the monthly sections, but it's just a list so I can see at a glance, okay, I've had 3 finishes for 2024. I've had 1 new start for 2024. What other lists do I have back here? I have my 2024 FFOs, so there's nothing on that list yet. I have my 2024 SALs, which I don't have anything on that list yet. 2024 retreats, so I wrote about my one retreat. I put Stitch Away January 12th through 13th, hosted by Keepsakes at Houston Woods Lodge. Let's see. Oh, and I don't have any more lists, but I just kind of left some blank pages in the back. That way, if I wanted to add more lists, I can. So this was just a simple, like I said, journal that I got on Amazon. And then I purchased these little tabs. So they have the monthly ones, but they also have blank ones. Like I use that to write the lists on that you can add. And I also got that on Amazon from a company called Diverse Bee. So I'll link that below too if you would like to purchase those. I mean, you don't have to use it in this book necessarily, but you can use it in any journal. Yeah, so those are my plans. I'm just trying to remember, did I forget anything? Just looking at my notes here, I think I got everything. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, so, excuse me, just a reminder, please, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate it. You know, the more subscribers I get, the more that YouTube will show my videos, you know, in people's feeds, and it just makes me more visible. So I would appreciate if you would subscribe, if you would like my videos, hit the notification bell. You know, if you're watching me, share that on Instagram. Leave me a comment below. I do take the time to read all of the comments. I think I need to go back because I didn't have a chance while I was at the retreat, but I need to go back and just catch up and see if there were any comments I haven't yet responded to or liked on my last video. But definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what you're stitching. Let me know what your plans are. Tell me whatever you want to tell me, as long as it's nice. Be nice. You know, connect with me on Instagram, Stitchy Sarah Reads. I would love to hear from you. Just know that if you message me or leave me a comment, and especially if you've like to ask me a question or something and I don't respond, I'm not ignoring you. Sometimes, and here's what happens, is sometimes I'll read something and think to myself, because you know how it is. You're going about your busy day and, you know, you've got a minute while you're in line at the grocery store and you're scrolling and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're reading it. And you don't have time at that moment to respond. And you think to myself, okay, I need to remember to respond to that person later. And then I forget because it gets buried under other things. So if you've asked me a question or I just haven't responded to you, please know I'm not ignoring you. I just forgot, is what probably happened. Or I just didn't see it for whatever reason. So don't feel bad about like asking me the same question again or saying, hey, I had asked you blah, 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 and I didn't hear a response, you know. Can you tell me whatever it was you wanted me to tell you or whatever. Don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad about asking something again. You know, because I'm not intentionally ignoring anybody. I certainly wouldn't do that. Oh, also, I forgot about this. A few people have asked me about like my floss organization back there and have asked me about my like fabric organization. This video is already getting kind of long, so I think I'm going to forgo that for now, but I'm going to write myself a note to try to talk about that in my next video. So again, that's one of those things where people have asked me that question and I haven't responded because I would rather just talk about it in the video because I've gotten a few of the same question instead of answering each person individually because it's probably a question that other people have. So I will make myself a note to talk about that in the next video again, just because this one's getting so long and I spent time talking about my retreat and everything. So I will talk about that in my next video. So I think that's it. I hope you all are having a wonderful, I was going to say weekend, but you might not be watching this on the weekend. I hope you're having a wonderful day, whatever kind of day it is. I know there's a lot of bad weather coming for lots of different areas of the country. So please be careful wherever you're at. Stay warm, stay safe, and check on your loved ones. Check in with people and see how they're doing. Whether they're in a place where the weather's bad or just they might just need someone to check up on them and see how they're doing. We're all going through stuff in life, so we got to be there for each other, right? Okay, that's me on my soapbox. So I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to let you guys go, get back to your day. I hope that you have wonderful time stitching whatever you're stitching. I'd love to hear from you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.